This is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
It has been a devastating year. COVID has taken lives and destroyed families at an unimaginable rate. On Easter of last year, there was hope, but fear was plentiful in the face of a disease that at that point had killed 22,000 Americans, 22,000 dead from COVID-19. Look at the differences. World cases were at just under 2 million and now over 125 million. U.S. cases were at an eye-opening 500,000, while this year it's more than 30 million. World deaths were at 110,000 last year and almost 3 million this year. U.S. deaths were now around 550,000, up from 22,000 on Easter of last year. What can be said to people of faith about what they've endured this past year? Dr. Paul Cannings is pastor of the Living Word Fellowship Church in Houston, joins me this Resurrection Sunday. Thank you, Pastor Cannings. So what have you been telling your congregation about faith during this challenging time?
Well, first, Cambrell, thank you for having us on this program. We appreciate all the work that you do. We've been focusing on a series called Through the Valley, because nothing that we're going through right now is anything new to the scriptures, nothing new. God has talked about these times. He has shown us what he does for his people during these times by giving us one model after another, or one module after another in the Old Testament, and then he tells us about this in the New Testament. So I've been trying to encourage our congregation and those who listen to us on live streaming that you know, God has a plan, and in the midst of it, even when there was a plague in Egypt, one after the next, the Israelites were never touched. So God can effectively come into a situation and allow one group of people to be touched, but those who choose to walk in his ways and trust him and to worship him with a genuine heart, because Deuteronomy 28, verse 47 and verse 48 says he's not happy when we fake it. So when we come and worship him with a genuine heart, yeah, the Bible says God will bless those. So I'm encouraging them that, hey, God can keep you. He can preserve you. He's been doing it. This is not the first time that God has not provided us direction for these times when it happened.
There seems to be no lack of suffering in the Bible. You can find it in a lot of places in the Bible, but followers of Christ shouldn't expect that should be a part of their lives, should it?
No, he said how we function in those times. And when we do that, we demonstrate faith in him. In other words, faith is not a feeling, it's not a thought, not something we grab in the sky. Faith comes from his word. So when people are going through very difficult times, kind of like a basketball team on the court and they're down 20 points, but they still believe they can win, and they keep playing and they keep using their playbook, they listen to their coach, and they come back. Mm-hmm. It's the same difference that you have within the church environment, that, yeah, we could be down, but we have to trust the playbook, and we have to walk by that playbook and listen to the coach. And eventually, when he sees that our faith is genuine, because the more obstacles come and the more we hold to God, is the more faith is truly faith. Because faith is a deep conviction that God doesn't lie, right, and that he's going to bring things true. So the more you press a Christian and the more they come out holding to the scriptures, is the more they demonstrate their faith in God. And God says he will bless faith, he will reward faith. So that's why people find more strength and learn about their faith in the difficult times that rescues them and become a great testimony to everybody else.
Your church was in the news recently as one of those sites being used to provide vaccinations for not only your congregation, but members of the community that needed it now. Talk about how you came to that decision to do that, and how does that role that you and your church played during that period of time agree with the teachings of what Jesus Christ taught?
You know, Cambrell, this started when Christ, during the time I was in seminary, allowed me to be a juvenile probation officer. And by the grace of God, I was doing such a good job, my boss put me in West Dallas in the projects. And I came from a very good family. Thank God for that. Thank God for great parents. I never was exposed to any of that. And God used that experience to teach me that when people feel his heart, they can better hear his word. So he was in the streets. He modeled this for us. He was in the streets. And so we, as a church, we have been taking care of over 200 cars, providing food every day since March, every day, every weekday, thanks to our staff, Pastor Butte at our outreach center, and the team that has worked with him faithfully. We've gone down to 3 days now, starting this year. About February this year, we went to 3 days. But we've been feeding people, providing food. We've had a Christian school ministering to kids. This is not something that we just decided to do because of the virus. This is what our heart is about. Mm-hmm. This is who we are. This is the character of Christ that must be displayed. He says when we lift him up, people will be drawn to him, but we need to lift him up. You see the example of that in the wilderness when the serpent was lifted up. So we wanted to make sure that people know that no matter what they're going through, if they're hungry, we'll be there. If it's Harvey and their homes are flooded, we'll be there. If it's educating their kids, both academically and spiritually, we'll be there. And so when the vaccine is needed in our community, I called, actually I text Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee and Mayor Turner and asked them if they wouldn't mind coming to our community, because we have people in our community that don't have all the internet, don't have all of this stuff. And I asked them if they would please allow me to not have any registrations, so the people can come in, first come, first serve. And we found that some people couldn't read or write. Some people, not a majority of them, but a small minority of them. So it was difficult for them to go fill out the registration forms. And I think with the help of St. Joseph and Houston Community College, Dr. Tyrone and Kim from St. Joseph, they just gave their hearts to this. So I thank God for our staff who had only 3 days to prepare. And for St. Joseph, obviously for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, she came on and just said yes and pull it all together. And Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee's been out there working hard, and Mayor Turner. And they worked with us. We applied ourselves to it. And by the grace of God, we were able to give out 1,165 vaccines in one day. Well, so we were excited that we were able to serve the community, and they're still coming, trying to get more vaccines. So we've been reaching out to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee saying, come back to our community. There's still a lot of people that need it. Well,
I thank you for being here this morning. And I thank you as well for being willing to stick around for doing a Newsmakers Extra. We'll continue our conversations. I want to know what special message you have for your congregation and anyone who's listening for this Easter and how to carry their lives going forward from this point. So thank you so much for this, Pastor Canning. So